I enjoyed it. Very informative. You know, one thing that I think a lot of people in Princeton are worried about is, I'm not putting you on the spot, but how large is the university? Like how large are you trying to, I would say, get in regard to enrollment within the next 10 years? I think the fear is that one day we'll wake up and everywhere we live will be Princeton University. So we just want to know, I mean, I think, not that I'm putting you on the spot, but how large are you really looking to achieve 10 years, 20 years from where we are today?
So, Lance, thank you for that question. I don't like that image either, of everything being the university. So what we said in the strategic framework is that we would like to grow at the undergraduate level by the same 10% that we grew over the past decade. And what's informing that decision is that, and Cindy said this in her presentation, we attract, we think, some of the very best students in the world, and increasingly from a range of socioeconomic backgrounds. It's a really interesting group of students. It's a really world-class group of faculty. But one of the ways they learn from each other is by being a residential community. So we never want to become so large that we lose that core definition of who we are. Right? We're a residential community, and that's one of the ways our faculty and our students learn from each other. We've been very pleased that in the growth of the past decade, I think the educational experience, the residential experience for students now feels as intimate as it did before we expanded. So we're confident we can do it again and preserve that. The framework says, we might be able to do more at some point in the future. There's no proposal to do that. There's no agreement that we could do that because we need to see how the next increment goes. But I mention that because in asking Cindy and her firm to do their work, this is one of the cases where we have the 10-year and a 30-year context, where we know we're going to need a residential college within the next 10 years, but we want to think about it so that if we needed another one 20 or 30 years down the road, we took that into account in thinking about where to put the next one. So, would we ever expand more than that? No way of knowing. But that's kind of the ballpark that we're in. At the same time, the faculty does grow over time because new fields emerge. I mean, if you look back over even the last 10 or so years, and you look at fields like neuroscience, genomics, there are new academic areas that have come into being, and they don't replace history and English and physics. And so there has been faculty growth. Whenever there's faculty growth, there is some growth in graduate students and postdocs. So we want to be realistic about planning for that growth as well. It's in the less than 1% a year range, but there is growth. So we want to accommodate that. One of the reasons that we think it's time to think more than we have in the past about how we use the West Windsor lands is that as we do grow some more, thinking about how that fits into the overall picture has become, I think, important. It's also one of the reasons we want to think about whether we can make better use of the lands we're already using so that we can, if we add some more people, we can still preserve the natural landscape of the campus. So we're taking all that into account. But I'd say, is there going to continue to be growth? Yes. Is it going to be any faster than you've seen? No. And once we get past, 10 years or so, it's hard to predict.
Hi, I'm Tim Quinn. I'm a member of the planning board. Thank you.